It's possible that maybe a little bit of my story might help you to know where I'm coming from and why this is so important to me. I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I was raised going to church a lot. We spent a lot of time in church, and we spent a lot of time in the Bible, both in church and in my home. There are 5 kids in my family, and we even had some little competition going on about biblical trivia and things of that sort. So I was immersed in the Bible from my very earliest years. The context I was raised in was pretty much of a young earth context. It was a conservative, evangelical, perhaps some would even say fundamentalist type of home. And so I was raised thinking about young earth issues, but it wasn't something that we thought of in controversial ways or that was kind of a big deal. When my parents talked to us about what we believe, it was always in a context of conversation, of dialogue, of looking at the information that supported things. So that was a very healthy atmosphere for me to think in those kinds of terms. It was just, this is what the Bible says as best as we could understand it, and that's how we thought about it. And so I grew up in that kind of context, and church was my life, and my family was very important to me. I remember well my first encounter with evolution. It was, of course, in my junior high, 7th grade biology course. And the professor was well known for being outspoken about evolution. My brother went through school ahead of me. I was second in line, and he had already established a well-known reputation for being willing to take on the professor in class and challenge some of the things that were being said about evolution. And I wasn't quite as sharp at that, but still I was engaged in that a bit as well. So that was my first foray into trying to think about science and faith and how they fit together. As I got to my college years, I went through my phases of thinking in terms of apologetics and defending a particular view, whether it was arguing against evolution or whether it was trying to talk about the age of the earth and what evidences there were. So I went through that phase where that became the way that I thought about things. And that was important for me to start to scout out the territory. And so as I approached my graduate study, that was my default position, a young earth position that was trying to find flaws and faults in the evolutionary theory, which in those days was presented as an alternative to belief in God and creation.